Charles Kinyanjui, the head of New Tech and New Ventures and FinTech Development at National Bank of Kenya, a subsidiary of Kenya Commercial Bank. My presentation was on the digital rush, meaning accelerated partnerships that we need to create with the FinTech economy. I was talking about the issue of financial institutions and how they can collaborate easier with third-party entities, aggregators, FinTechs, and also anything that drives, the stickiness of these customers onward. The thought around it was actually this is the digital age. We know where we're coming from. I mean, the global pandemic that already happened, the need for digital services, the convenience is great for customers, and also accessing other things that maybe communities require from a financial perspective, and actually how to advise FinTech on ways that they can actually onboard into banking. So that was the whole DNA of actually asking, how do we look at the active threats and how do we optimize those opportunities to manage the financial inclusion bit. From the feedback I got, it was well executed. I got the message home. We're in agreement. Ideally, if you look at the discussions that have been happening on a panel session, any other discussion that happened also after the session was heavily built on that bit of collaborating, co-creating with customers, and of course, looking at FinTech as friends. So the whole aspect were coined around, let's build bridges, not walls. Yeah. My interaction was quite okay. I met a lot of guys who dealt or are dealing in EKYC, the security standards they need to build, ERP providers. And of course, if you look at what you're trying to do is build embedded solutions that are actually secure to the last mile, also protecting the bit of, scaling the industry, and also inquiring on other developments. For instance, how do we build a sanctions profile for these markets, especially in East Africa and Africa as a whole, so that you're not dealing only with clean clients, or I'd call it good actors, but potentially FinTech that you can see can drive the kind of discussions that we're having at Tradepass. Yes, first of course is to commend Tradepass. I've been there in past events, the last being in 2019 before the pandemic struck. Coming back, we can only thank God because, ideally, you already know that we have a pause for 2 years. So how I'd put it is, this convergence that we've actually built, it gives us a sort of thought, kind of an industry-led thought into how to progress our joint agendas. We are a bit disjointed if you look at it, because banking is treated differently from insurance, from MFIs, from SACCOs, yet you're within the financial entity. So what Tradepass has been able to do is actually to bring a meeting of minds, to build up into that economy and to look at how do we solve better, how do we put customer in the room so that we are centered around their kind of needs, and how do we create that borderless ecosystem or community within the financial entities to enable to progress these discussions. So that even next time we'll be talking about now that you're here, what exactly does the future look like? Again, if you go back, what you're looking at is we're trying to move together. But ideally, it will mean that you have to carry everybody along. So I have to come back, look at who's being left behind or who is not floating to my agenda, and start that kind of discussion. So we need them on board, definitely. They're the convictions, they're the people who support us, they're the ones who have that potential to make decisions into these strategic angles that you're looking at. So it's very practical for us to have them in the room. Yeah, so that's a go for sure. A lot of things, connections, networks that are made within the room, but most importantly, the lessons learned based on the basis of what can actually be done in the industry, what, of course, being in the banking sector, the competitors are doing, and ideally, where are we best seated in terms of looking at the midterm and, of course, the long-term growth for the bank that I represent, and, of course, the industry.